Joined the military right out of high school at the age of 18. I turned 19 in boot camp as a Marine. Got to deploy overseas with the 24th MEU and ended my career with the last 12, 13-ish years in special operations and special forces. I would say late 2017, 2018, I had just had my son prior to going to Afghanistan. As I went on that deployment, I returned. I started to really have a lot of very traditional PTSD type symptoms starting to emerge. Things that startled me. I was starting to be very antisocial, which was unusual for me. So I start seeking out therapy. To say I was disappointed, it would be an understatement. My therapist would be like, hey, are you sure you don't want this? Oh, we have a drug for that. Oh, we have a pill for this. And they wouldn't stop. They just didn't stop. And so I quit therapy. And I know that that's not the right answer. And so I was sharing these experiences with my buddies. One of them suggested I should try to go garden. And they found a lot of therapy in gardening. And I was just like, I'll try anything at this point. I'll give it a shot. I think that one summer really kind of started to shift and change my attitude towards everything. The plant started to flower, and I started to get all these terpenes, these aromas from this plant, and I felt a physical change happen, and I started to have less mood swings. Now, it didn't go away completely, but traditional therapy I did had zero effect, and now interacting with this plant, I could tell there was healing going on. It was really profound.
Being somebody who has PTSD and having a lot of friends who've been diagnosed with PTSD, I quickly found that it was a viable solution for treating symptoms that arose from PTSD, namely like hypervigilance, insomnia, and inability to get adequate sleep.
If it can heal me, then it can heal others. And if there's an alternative to opiate, I'm going to help.
Beyond that, in order to deal with the issue of illicit cannabis, we probably weren't going to be successful by enforcing the problem away. If we wanted to eliminate the violence that was being cohabitated by illicit cannabis production, then given the parameters that cannabis has, which is that it's at least as safe, if not safer than alcohol, it has a large enough use space, which means you're never going to get rid of the use space. The safest thing and the most prudent thing to do if you really want to solve the issue of having narcoterrorists involved is to legalize it.
We're in the final stages of creating the ethanol distillation lab. And the distillation skid will make distillate, which is just distilled cannabinoids. And so it'll be a jar, looks like honey, which is, in the anywhere from like 90 to 97% THC. We'll make that in bulk, and then through that, you can make your vape carts and use it for edibles. You can infuse it into joints. We also have a C1D1 booth, which is a hydrocarbon extraction skid. And depending on what product we're aiming to make, we'll do some post-processing and either make your sugar, your batter, your diamonds, your crumble, or any other type of concentrate that you can see on the shelf today. I mentioned making the vape carts before. Those vape carts are not easy to fill. When I was building the company out, I started looking into automation because it would just take tons and tons and tons of people to sit there and hand fill those things all day. If there's something that I could do on my end to bring the price point down, utilizing automation where automation can be used, I'm all for it. And so, during my research, I came across Xylem. Looking into all the different types of cartridge filler equipment that's out there, I thought they had the best one out of what they all do. And the price point on those things, I'm just like, yeah, you guys are on the right track. So I purchased one of their Xylem 3 cartridge fillers. We have an operator out there that will pour the oil mixed appropriately depending on the terpenes that we're making into the Xylem 3, and it'll run its thing and push out a ready cart ready to be packaged.
My name is Joseph. I'm a technician here at C4. When I first got introduced to the Xylem, made about 10,000 carts, I think, my first run, and it definitely allows us to produce a large amount of carts very fast. We wouldn't be able to meet up with demands without the Xylem, I would say. Just because, we can easily make 8,000 to 10,000 carts in an 8-hour shift, especially with the Xylem, it caps them as well, all in one. So, if we were using the Thompson Duke, we would then have to go back through and cap each one individually, which even if we were able to fill that amount in that time, the capping would take a lot of time as well.
It's gonna have to go that way. Every company is gonna have to go to a space where they're putting all of their labor force into the bottleneck of whatever it is to be able to produce enough product to be able to stay afloat. So it's a really delicate balance, and the automation does have to be there. You know, one of our newest pieces of equipment, the Y1 made by Xylem, we're really excited about that because the injected pre-roll, the donut style or hash hole style of joint is a very popular one.
They're way better than a normal joint. Get a better high. The paper burns like it would for a normal joint. Once it gets to the hash on the inside, it just lasts a whole lot longer too. Yeah, I love them.
Until recently, you could only really get it in a hash hole type blunt. But now with the injector, we can utilize that injector and inject all the different types of concentrates, you know, batter, resin, we can use rosin, distillate. It's really cool because now we can even take just like a 0.5 gram joint and punch a hole in the middle of it and inject a small strip of whatever type of concentrate, and it burns just like a hash hole. It's a really good piece of technology.
I couldn't imagine doing as many by hand. It's so quick. Like I said, I can do roughly in a 7-hour day because you need time to prep and time to clean afterwards. Between 2,000 to 2,500 a day, 400 an hour or so if I'm cruising.
So our automated pre-roll machine makes the pre-rolls. We push it over to the Y1 and it's able to inject concentrate into the middle of it. You know, you can take full spectrum product and we can add terpenes to it. We can really custom make a very tailor-made product for somebody that's looking for something very specific. If research starts to happen after rescheduling and we're able to figure out like, hey, this combination of cannabinoids and terpenes is gonna be the most ideal for somebody that has PTSD or TBI, we can tailor make that product. It's gonna be so much fun. I mean, it's really cool. When you're talking about consistency throughout the manufacturing process, where you really want to place your automation is exactly where you're injecting or you're weighing or, you know, you're doing these things. That's where you could have the most failures as far as like your consumer base. And those are problems that you get with human error. And so if you can place automation there, still not taking away jobs, you're just being able to really produce it faster, and then you're producing it with more accuracy and consistency. So it's one of the best things about automation. You know, we haven't automated the packaging side of it, but that's where I'd like to use my labor force, is where, you know, it's best used is the final stage of packaging.
Yeah, I love it. I didn't really know I liked machines like that before I started working in such a warehouse facility, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can see the production and I'm constantly thinking of new ways to advance our production speed. And so it's really awesome to like find out all these different types of pieces of equipment that can help us do exactly that.
I want to create a successful business in this industry, utilizing all of the things that I've learned throughout my life and my experiences in the military and with business, and include these younger kids. A lot of the kids that work here, this is their first time ever having a real job. All of them have worked their butt off, you know, whether it be for trimming during garden season, you know, up on the hill, or, you know, odd-end jobs. You know, they don't have any technical skill training. They don't have any formal education on anything, but they can come in here and work on something that they're passionate about. I could teach them how to use hydrocarbon extraction. I could teach them how to use this equipment.
I started at the ground level as a packager and stickering technician, and I was going to originally be trained to go onto the joint rolling machine, but they needed somebody to be in the hydrocarbon booth, so I ended up taking the position. Super excited about it, did as much research as I could on it, and then started running it.
If we can get these kids trained on this stuff, on a new emerging industry that will soon be federally probably legal, I mean, they're gonna have opportunity all over the nation. They're gonna have a skill set that now industry, people that are getting into it will want, and they'll be able to go support themselves anywhere.
I think my value being seen here has really motivated me to want to continue to do more and be a part of it. And now at this point, the warehouse is it's like a family.
Yeah, it was my favorite thing I've ever done for work in my entire life, and that's why I've worked here the longest.
And so I think that's what's important also about utilizing technology, because as the industry does start to grow, a lot of the processes that we use to make the products are hands-on processes. So we do need technology to catch up and automation to catch up, so we can utilize machinery to do a lot of the work that is bottlenecked by doing hand work right now. Those machines are going to need people to operate them and work on them and tune them in and dial them up. So I think it's really been valuable for some of these employees to be able to learn these different and new trades, doing them safely. One of my long-term goals for this company is to be one of the first, if not the first, company that supports veterans with a cannabis product. And so if rescheduling or descheduling does happen, which it should here in the near future, I'd like to be part of the journey and provide a cannabis infused product to veterans that experience PTSD and TBI.